What's happening, everybody? We are here live with Katrina Raether. Someone I've known for, gosh, how many years have we known each other now, Kat?
God, gazillion, like
Gazillion?
10 years.
Feels like, it better be longer than 10. It sure feels a lot longer than 10.
I know, I'm feeling old. I think you were like 30, weren't you?
Shoot, that means it's been 10 years then.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think this is awesome. And Mr. John Kitchens, who actually, together we owned the brokerage in Oklahoma where we first met you, and you came to work for us at the J. Kinder Real Estate Experts, which I think we were actually still at Coldwell Banker at the time, right?
Yeah. Yep. You guys are
cool. Even that was that long ago.
It was.
So you've been through a lot, right? So you've been, I think the interesting thing about this story is your perspective of you've been on a team, you saw the advantages, disadvantages of that. You went out on your own. I'm sure you learned some things there. And now you joined us at eXp, and I'm sure you've learned some things there. So, I mean, there's a lot of things we could dive into, but, maybe just talk a little bit about your journey. Like what, you've been in real estate now for, a decade plus. What's, what have you learned?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's been, I hate to say it, but it's been 25 years.
25?
Which is insane. Yeah. I actually came to UJ, I was 39 because I remember turning 40 with you guys, and I was like, nobody in that office was even over, like, close to my age.
Right. You still don't even look 40, so you got that going for you.
Yeah. I had already been in the industry, and remember 2008 was horrible. It was horrific. And I don't even know if he knows this. You two know this, but I was like Googling. I was just Googling. I'm in Edmond, and everything market's just gone to hell. And I'm Googling real estate. Who's doing good? Who's doing good? And I'm like, okay, I'll check because I'm from L-Town. My dad retired there, all that. So I said, who's doing good? And I look up, and it's like Kinder. And I'm like, this Kinder guy, man, he is killing it. And so I'm like going on, and like, I send you this, my resume. I'm doing it. I'm like,
I remember that.
Send him this. I don't even know this guy. I'm like, but he's doing something. And everybody right then in Edmond I was dealing with, we were all like, whoa, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like in one day I lost 16 people in my pipeline, and it was just horrible, painful. And so I like Google you, I send everything to you, didn't even know your email, I'm trying to find you, search out, blah, blah, blah. I'm calling a lot of people going, hey, Kinder's email and all this. Like, it was crazy. And then I send you all that, and then you called me. I remember it was like after church, I heard a message, and I was like, oh my God, I get to go interview with him and John. So yeah, it was cool.
That's crazy. Yeah, I remember getting your resume. I'd forgotten that you were actually in Edmond, and you started driving to Lawton to sell real estate on our team, which was freaking amazing. It was amazing. So, and you were at Keller Williams at that time before?
Yeah, I had been at Homeworks, which was right there in Edmond. That's it's a private brokerage.
Right.
Which was great. I mean, everything, I was doing really good. And literally in one day, though, the market changed. And I lost everything, to put it really lightly, everything. Like even, I had all kinds of rental homes. It was crazy, y'all. Oh my God. I was living with Benny and their dog. Of course, you know that. Even on cars, automobiles. It was crazy.
Yes, I recall.
You cannot make this up. And I didn't even know y'all. Like, I'm Googling and I'm finding him. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going a lot. And I remember everybody, my kids thinking I was crazy. And I was like, yeah, we're heading, because this guy's the only one doing good in the state. So something's going
Yeah.
It's got to happen on this.
And what was cool too is that, you kind of had mentioned, Kat's experience all across the board. Like she had actually came in and started helping us do short sales, right?
Right.
We had the whole short sale department, and then even helping with the REO side. Man, it was like there's nothing that you haven't seen or experienced.
Yeah.
Let's hope we don't see a 2008 again. That's for sure.
I have to give you the kudos, is because all my years in real estate, I had never worked for anybody that their whole thing was on building yourself, self-development. I had never even known what that. Y'all are talking about Dan Kennedy, Jay Abraham, all these people, and I'm like, and I literally, it was like taking in, going back to school every day, feeding. John's talking about strategy. I didn't even know what the hell strategy was. Like, I've been in real estate, You know how I was. was. There was no structure. I was just like that typical agent, just go to office, get deal. You know what I mean? Like, y'all had to start from scratch with me. It was crazy.
You had raw talent on your side though, and work ethic like nobody else. So
absolutely, 100%. Definitely had the work ethic dialed in for sure.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious. So what did you take away from being in that environment to ultimately going back on your own several years later and really opening your own brokerage, right?
Oh my God. Okay, first of all, number one, I didn't even know what the hell systems were when I came to work with you guys, and then John and you and Jay. I was like, oh my God. And then doing a strategy, like a plan, a business plan, your quarterly reviews, all this. Matter of fact, I had to teach a lady today on a deal, a rental, how to do one. I'm like, I sent her the one from Katrina Raether in this because it's like, that's the stuff I had no clue on. And you guys taught me all that. And it was weird. The main thing was you change your thinking with your group. Like everybody says you join a team and it's this and you get, the leads were amazing, everything else. But I grew as a person. Like you empower. I don't know how the hell you did it with all us different personalities. Crazy. I know me. And then you have like all these other people, literally 20 of us. I don't know how you did it. And then you take that and we're all building and growing and working with your same mission. But I literally have the respect I have for you is so much more because I don't know how you did it. And
I'll tell you, this guy right up here.
Yeah, John's like,
that's how I did it.
Remember, John, I was your pain in the butt because I had no sense of strategy or organization or anything. I was just there, and I was coming in, and I remember, like, I love the training, but I know with what you did with me, dude, you need to be all over because I was like helpless.
No, not true. You had some systems and stuff that need to be put in place and a little bit of structure. I mean, but you were hustling, and that was it's just we had to organize the chaos. That's all.
Exactly. That's it. So that
Kat, for
learning it.
What was really, really cool for me, Kat, was when, you came down and you brought the team down. I think it was to that boot camp we had in February. And you brought them all over to the house. And, you guys were having fun with holiday shopping. But I was just listening to your key people. And the things that they were saying are the things that you have learned and you really instilled into them. So it's not like you had learned this and just kept it to yourself. You're really empowering and growing other people around you. And that was like, I was like, that made me feel good. I was like, man, not only did she get it, but she's getting her people to get it, which was really cool.
Dude, you can't. It's like contagious. Once you learn that stuff with you guys, it's like you want to take it. Just like
you especially when you see someone that I was no different than you were, Kat. I mean, I was all over the place, 100 miles an hour, no calendar, no strategy, work, until I had the breakthrough, right? Like until you have that breakthrough, you can't really fully appreciate it. But once you have the breakthrough and you see it at work in your life, then you become such an advocate of it, like you can't not tell people, like you feel like you owe it to them, and and that's just part of it, part of your growth path, and then the ability to help lead others. And so I'm curious, what you went out on your own and ultimately went back to the city, and there's again I think there's no point in life where you're not going to have some lessons learned. At least so far in my life, I haven't escaped that reality. So what did you learn going out on your own, and kind of what was that experience like?
Okay, first of all, Jay, I didn't know what core capital was. I remember. I still have to go back to you and John on this stuff. Y'all used to hammer down on all of literally all these books, and I was avid reader, but I'm telling you, when in each role you're different. Like as a buyer's agent, I had it so good. I just had to focus on my buyers. It was great. Okay, make my money and be done. Like, it is completely different. And when I got my broker's license, I thought, oh my God, I have so much knowledge from these guys. I just want to, spread. Okay, so no, number one, going through that core capital, which I remember Jay and you specifically talking about it too. Gone. I think I ran out of money like 5-6 months. It was like gone. Every red shiny object, I got everything. Every stinking thing I squirreled. I always squirreled anyway, being there, but I really super squirreled. It was like, oh my God, this and this and this. And I was like, no.
Yeah. So you learned the lesson of and most people that's probably watching, unless they've really coached with us at a deep level, probably don't even recognize the term core capital. It's the amount of cash that needs to be set aside as operating cash, right? And then the new investments in the business are to be a test and to determine, how long is it going to take for that to pay off. And so, there's a lot of ideas and things that we want to try to implement. If you try to do too much at one time, sometimes you don't really accurately measure the results. And worst case scenario, which I am evidence of this as well. It's not like I learned this and started teaching it because I was smart. I learned it because I ran out of cash. Even at a high level, when we had over 100 and 10 or 20 grand in the bank at one point, we made a bet on television marketing, $10,000 a month. And by about the 8th month, I was down to 30,000 in the bank, and I've been listing more houses than anything I'd ever done. It was working. There's no doubt it was working, but I was burning through operating cash, and I had to hire a couple extra people, and all this kind of stuff, to manage it. But I was still going through cash, and when you made that decision, 8 or 10 months ago, you don't always think about how long it takes to get the result from whatever things that you're spending your money on. And so that's the principle of the core capital and making sure you have a mechanism in place for how you spend money in your business so you don't run out of cash, right? So definitely stressful, right? So and so then what was the next thing that you maybe ran into? Because these are all they're all lessons learned, but you can survive them all, right? So it's not really painful, and you get scars that last a lifetime, but you survived all that. So you've been through way worse. 2008 was by far everybody's worst nightmare, 7 and 8. So what was the next phase for you?
One thing I felt good about, I had a good foundation with you guys on the home buying system and the home selling system. So that didn't change.
Right.
I always used that.
Yeah, reinvent the wheel.
I could always make some money, and it was awesome because of the open house on steroids. Oh my God, that literally has fed me anytime I've needed money. I know that sounds crazy, but I literally can write a check every time on the open house on steroids. I do this to this day. Last month I sold 2 houses that way on open house. Like, I believe in it.
It works.
Ever.
It works. Ain't nobody gonna convince you it doesn't work because it works.
Yeah.
Right? We call that the slack adjuster when you need to bring some cash in.
That works. But yeah, the main thing was I started looking at what systems I needed to be able to take with me to say, okay, Kat, you are doing your personal business, then you're bringing on agents, which was costing so much money with the leads, and then I was having to train, and then at a certain point that pulls me out of the production, but at the same time I needed to stay in the production. So I was dealing with that, and then the whole reason was joining Keller was it's like, okay, create some leverage, which I was like, yeah, leverage, awesome. So I can recruit people, yay, and make some money. And so that was the main thing was I started recruiting, and so, yeah, I was making, that was great because I was making payments and just getting that money each month. And so that was awesome. But then it was like I lost a large part of being able to stick with the same system and produce. And so that I had to get back in again. And I dealt with a lot of things on meetings, and just it was a lot of my time that was taken that I had to do, which caused me to lose a lot of time for me producing. Right. And meetings are great, but it's not effective when you got to pay, the bills, and you already know what's going on. And so, and I already know what I need to make because you guys, remember, I learned analytics and stuff from y'all because that's stuff I didn't even know. So I had down to how many dials I had to do, how many this. I remember going, the hell they know how many dials you got to take. I am so crazy about that now. I got that shit on a sheet. Each morning, I gotta do this first. At 7:15, 7:30, I'm going. I gotta dial. I have gone nuts on that. And I know people go, it's just crazy. But it works. And it's the only way to get me going.
Right.
I'm just being honest.
Without a doubt.
That is stuff I had to learn from you guys. And I'd already been in the business, And so those are the things, like when I was excited, for eXp to come along, because I see now I'm so much more focused. I love the fact that everything's in the cloud, and I wasn't the most technical, and it's so easy. I'm going in at midnight, and I can check and do my own, all these different courses and go through everything. And oh my God, getting a check was so easy. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know we had, the girl, somebody that actually handles your transaction coordinator. Like I've got Tracy joining me, but an actual lady to join it and, to actually help me get a check.
Right. Yeah. It's awesome.
So yeah.
So now we, so here's the thing. Let's get real, because if I remember right, Holly had talked to you about eXp and John had talked to you about eXp for a while, and you wasn't having it at first. So,
that's true.
What was that? What was your reservations? And what was going through your mind? Like, God, not another change, I'm sure that's probably.
Already come into KW, and I knew everything I had to deal with, and it was a totally different thing. And my time, I lost a lot of my time. I really did. And so for me, I thought, oh, I'm not doing this again. And then I know how hard it was to actually recuperate. Like every time you go through this, you lose, you're actually, you're going to lose expected certain things, because you've got to get back in somebody else's system. You've got to get in their way of doing things and their trainings and all of their office things. And don't get me wrong, that was great, because I brought some great people on, but I lost a lot of my time. And that was something everybody kept saying, this is a cloud in the brokerage. And I couldn't understand what they meant. I was like, I don't understand that, because I'm dealing with Dolly, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that, I'm dealing with that. Everything was such a physical meeting. And so I just could not deal with anything else that was going to take more time. And
you were focused. At this point in your career, you were clear that your focus was on production, and you didn't want to do anything that was going to interfere with that, right? Like that pretty much kind of how you felt.
Yeah.
So now you've been now at eXp since February-ish, March. So what was first of all, what tipped you over the edge? What was it that you saw that said, okay, fine, I get it, I'm coming?
The main thing was when I went online and I started looking at going into the cloud, and I went into all the different meetings in the rooms, and I thought, oh my God, you can do this? Like, you can do this, and I don't have to be physically at office. I don't have to be dressed up. I can literally go and do this on my own. Like, it freaked me out. And then I remember just seeing other people, and I was like, you know how you can do that little dance? I was like, crazy. I remember telling myself, this is crazy. And so I thought that was cool, because seeing people actually doing real estate and on their own time and on their own thing, and just something I haven't really dealt with. And so that was number one. And then obviously the thing about the leverage, when I started going through my checks on what I was getting on profit share, and then with eXp understanding the difference with revenue share, like it took me a minute to even understand and get that. Like, I was seeing what people were making, but I didn't, understanding the concept is what really took me a minute. And that's when it's like, oh wow, there's a huge difference. And
I think there was two, and we hadn't even talked about this, is that, you really have dove into the commercial market in Oklahoma City. And I think that was a little bit of you're a little gun shy, because, you had really kind of got a feel for KW commercial. And then it was all of a sudden, hey, there is a network here at eXp, right? Nobody even talks about it. And then I remember making that connection for Kat, and she got connected with a lot of the key people that are really focused on growing commercial at eXp. And I just remember I said, hey, reach out to these guys, and you did. And then that was like, okay, I feel good. I feel real good about this decision.
Those guys came from KW Commercial. They did 60 million with KW Commercial 2 years ago. I knew exactly who they were when you said that name. I went, oh my God. So that's why when I talked to that guy, I went, you guys were the same ones. I was, it was nice to see people that I was already familiar with that had already set up their own platform and had the commercial thing just going. So that way it was kind of nice. I didn't have any apprehension after that. And they already had like CoStar, the LeapNet, all these programs set up. They've already got a whole little system thing going on. So that makes it nice. And it was pretty cool because the CoStar lady, she went and called me. She goes, okay, what is eXp? Because it was just cool to start telling everybody, I'm with eXp. It's just
right,
and downloading that. So yeah,
nice.
That's cool.
So you finally came aboard, and what's it been like? What was maybe some of your biggest ahas that after you joined that you realized like, oh, this is way different, or this is so much easier? What was some things that, or even maybe what some things that you were like, well, this isn't as what I thought it was going to be. It doesn't have to be positive; it could be even negative. So, what were some maybe misconceptions?
I think the negative is hard just kind of getting on board. The onboarding thing seemed a little bit weird in the beginning.
Right.
But then once I got on, you can sometimes get a little bit overwhelming because there's so much in Sky Slope. There's so much going on. And the different groups that you really need to be join to be know what's going on. Okay.
Right.
At first, that's like, wow. And then it's just after that so nice. Like I get all my notifications. I see exactly what's going on in the mornings with the commercial department. I know exactly what's going on with my state team. I don't have to go to an ALC meeting. I have to go to this meeting or the team meeting, and nothing against, but I was just over all my time being taken. And I also love the way to get a check. I cannot express that enough. And our state, like, this one night, dude, I'm literally putting in my stips, and it was 1:30 in the morning, and I remember getting a DA by it was 11 for that closing that day. Now that's awesome. They were just really cool. And that stuff, I'll be honest, I did not have a clue on any of that. I mean, that was actually kind of scary when you think about it.
Right.
I don't know how
am I getting paid? There's not much that matters more than how fast you get your check.
Yeah, you're like, how did I get a check? Yeah. So yeah, that's the biggest surprise. That was amazing.
So what about as far as now that you're on board, you've been here a few months and at least a couple months anyway. So what's what does your day look like in terms of what are you using Workplace daily? Are you in the cloud every day? What are some things that really you feel like may have made things more efficient for you, or just are better than maybe what you've experienced in the past?
The biggest thing is I'm in Sky Slope, obviously, of course, daily because of my transactions, and Workplace because of all the information and keeping up with commercial and keeping up with what's going on. And, obviously you guys let us know what's going on in the Honey Badger. Like literally there's so much information. I'm used to having to really search for information.
Right.
Companies, and there's no searching. There's just so much that it's like, I know I've told Ollie a couple times, hey, will you let me know, really include me what's important, because I still do my calls in the morning, 7:30 days. I'm not changing my calls. I don't, and then I go show after that and all that. So I still have my same systems, obviously, but now I can go back through and I go online, and I've gotten disciplined about just checking out which groups, and I'm not overwhelmed anymore, so.
Right.
Once
you get plugged into the right groups and everything, that was a big thing. So when we joined, there wasn't, Workplace hadn't even been they hadn't even made the deal with Facebook Workplace yet. So the world was kind of the only place that happened. Then Facebook Workplace came along. It was game changer. Like from a communication standpoint, right in the palm of your hand, you have literally anybody and anything you need to get in touch with just right there. So definitely very helpful. So what else, as far as, a lot of people, we do these, a lot of these, these Facebook lives, and certainly if anybody's watching this and you want to learn more, you should reach out to Kat. She definitely is a sharp girl. She can definitely help you with joining eXp or any questions you have about eXp. So I would definitely encourage anybody who's watching this to reach out to you. But the revenue share, is kind of one of those things that, okay, it sounds really good. And I think the same thing is probably thought of, from a profit share standpoint, okay, that sounded really good too. And sometimes it materializes a little slower than than people may think. So how has that worked out from a revenue share standpoint? Has it been a meaningful part of your, what you're doing? Or are you focused on selling real estate, or how have you adapted to that and the stock and some of the pieces of the business model that don't exist anywhere else?
Like literally, this is what's so cool. I got so involved massively in the production, but I have not received my first revenue share check yet. And so I'm like, I was telling John this other day, it's like, okay, I've got everything else down on taking the time to do my calls and do this and do that. Guess what? Now it's on my calendar to now recruit. Yep. And it's so easy now to set up with you and doing the 1 o'clock and then getting on the 1 o'clock thing. But at the time it wasn't. I admit that. I was just trying to go, learn everything. Right. No, I should have been doing that from day one too. So
yeah, that's true. You could definitely justify that, but I also understand the perspective of, like before I start telling people how wonderful it is, let me make sure I feel like it's that wonderful, right? Like there's a little bit of that too, right? So that's respectable. So, I think, and what I'm grateful for is, it's been being here now 18 months, we've put systems in place for helping you, right? Like, so making, like you mentioned, the Thursday, there's a place that you can send people to watch a video. And so you shouldn't have to do a lot of work other than introduce people to the business. And as you're doing deals and having conversations with people are going to ask about eXp. It's natural. Everybody's heard about it. Nobody wants to be sold, but everybody, wants to get a new perspective from somebody too. So, I think, we can definitely help you with the systems and processes to start consistently adding a new revenue stream to your business model, right? Like that's why we saw this opportunity the same as everybody else. Revenue share comes off the top instead of, like profit share off the bottom. Most companies don't offer that. Only Keller is the only one that I know of. So that's a huge deal. It's a big difference. And it's, it's money, you can count on because if somebody closes a deal, you get a percentage of it. It's not, okay, well, after all the dust settles, this is what maybe it'll be. You don't really know. So there's that. So yeah, cool. And so, as far as the stock, how did that play into the decision? Everybody looks at every piece of the model different. Yeah. So how did you feel about the stock? Was that a big deal to you or not? Or what were your thoughts?
It was a big deal in terms of thinking, wow, I'm building equity and it's something that I had never even thought about doing, because in real estate, it's always been based on your work, on your transactions and building maybe a little leverage. Yeah, I know, but it's still based on people's work. And this is just like not heard of, because this is just stock options, which because I hadn't bought stock options before. Right. So I was like, wow, this is completely different. And it's nice because of that. And I've been doing some reading and poking into, I started looking at these things now that I'm closing deals and stuff. Right. And I'm really excited. So it's just like something new, because I literally, that's something for me. And I was telling another agent that today, she's like, I can't even imagine that, because that's not something I've ever heard of in real estate. And that's kind of how I am. So I'm still getting to that too.
I think a lot of this too becomes more realistic once you've been through a 2008 and you realize how quickly anything you may have amassed in your life can take you out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In this business, so like there's an appreciation for a company that puts in place a way for you to build equity and potentially an asset for an exit strategy at some point. And there's an appreciation for a company that's managing and taking all the arrows from a legal standpoint and doing, building all the systems and processes and all that, so I can just go produce, and then they give me the ability to earn some revenue share off the top of anybody I bring into the company. There's some appreciation for those things where, if you haven't ever been through it, you don't think about, well, man, that last 10 years went fast. That last 25 years went fast. What if you'd had stock for the last 25 years? What would that be worth to you, right? Like I can only impress upon you if you're watching this and you think you're gonna, most of us would say, I'm never. I think I used to answer, I used to say, well, I'm never retiring. I can't see myself not working. That's an easy thing to say, to dismiss. But the financial obligation you have of becoming, of being in a place or at least in a vehicle that allows you to maybe potentially retire at some point is a very real financial obligation that you got to deal with. And, unfortunately, I think a lot of real estate agents end up, door knocking until they drop dead while they're door knocking. And that's not a good strategy. So
they're still doing it. And
right.
that, what you just said is something that I feel like we need to get out to more agents, because nobody's really told how to do an exit strategy.
Right.
You really aren't told. That's not something you really even think about normally. So
right, absolutely. Well, Kitchens, I know you. You coached Kat from the get-go, so I know that you have some things that I probably missed. Anything that we missed there, or anything you'd want to have that answer or?
No, I think that was it was well done. Kat shared. I think one of the things, don't dismiss that. Well, eXp doesn't work for me because I do this, right? eXp doesn't work for me because I only do this. And that's why, when you were saying, hey, reach out to Kat, because she's done it all. And she's done short sales, REOs, just buy side focus, listing focus. She's been on a team. She's ran a team. She's done commercial. She's property managed. She's, property managed, residential property managed on the commercial side. There's nothing that Kat has not done and can make it work within this model. So if you have a question, you're apprehensive, you're like, it's not for me. Just, you owe it to yourself to have a conversation with her, and she can definitely help you explore how you can make it work.
Right.
Because I heard, and I'm glad you said that, because I heard someone saying, oh, it's not really for single agents. You have to have a team. And I'm like, no, that's not, no. So it's just funny, though, because people's perceptions. And so I want them to know, it's me, and y'all know, and I've been on the team and led team. This is for everybody. And I'm extremely thankful. I am to you guys. I really am, for just having me here, because I really do enjoy it, and I'm happy again.
Yeah.
And I do. I have a joy now, because my stress isn't just there, oh my God, constantly.
Yeah. It's different, because I see Kat calling, or I'm getting on the phone with her. It's not like back in the days a lot, and I'll be like, oh shit, Kat's calling. It's like, yeah, Kat's calling. What you got?
Literally, the Hummer's on fire is actually right? Literally.
People to catch the dang Hummer on fire. Of course, I went on I-40. Of course, I get that. Do you know that was the worst call I ever wanted to make to you? And I don't think I made it to you. I made it to Holly, because I didn't have
the cool thing is we can laugh about it, right?
Yeah.
You're safe, everything's good.
But
that's what's cool.
You know what? I'm going to tell y'all this. Everybody sees y'all as the coaches, but I feel really fortunate to have been on your team, because literally the shit you taught me, I know it. This is the stuff that I've learned, and it has kept me and going. And it's funny, because at the time I didn't even understand all that. I remember even when you were sitting there with Jay Abraham, I literally did not understand during that first conference half the stuff y'all were saying. And I remember sitting there going, oh my God, my head hurts, because I'm really trying to concentrate. And now all of this stuff, now I get it. So I just want to thank you, because you empowered everybody. All of us were different on your team, and you empowered. Not only was it about clients and the lifetime value, but you empowered us. And that's something I don't see a lot with the team leaders. And it's you empowered us. And that's why we were able to go and build and do other things and continue in the business. So nobody you built the people, and that's just huge. So thank you to you.
It takes more than just me. It was a team effort, and Kitch was instrumental in that. And it took all of us, and it took a willing participant too. So I appreciate that, and
thanks,
most importantly, now I'm very much appreciative of that, and that you're back on the team, right? Like it's in a different format, but you're still, you're back on the team, and that's really what it feels like too.
It does. It does. Listen to y'all every day, Honey Badger, no matter what's going on after my calls, and I just want to catch in and see what else is going on, what another agent's got going on, and listening, and that's what I like about it. It's like we're getting like this insider thing, and you just have it to us already, just to watch. And I'm like, if I'm out showing, I can come back in, and that's the first thing I go through is my Facebook, the Honey Badger page, and I get to see what's going on for the day and what interviews and what you've got going on. That's huge. Like that's something most places you have to pay for to even run the thing on the line. So thank you for that.
Yep. And actually, it's funny thing of all the things that we've ever done. We created groups. That you maybe you were an elite coaching client, or you were inner circle, or the expert advisor group, or came to boot camp. Those groups would last for a while. A lot of great people in it too. And I was just scrolling through one the other day, and I was going back to see like how far and where it was really active, because it only had like 5 posts in the last month. And I mean, there's got to be, I don't know how many in this group posts there are a day, but it's the most active group I've ever been a part of. In terms of, and as small as it is, it was under 2,000 agents that are in our group, in our revenue share group at eXp. But it's different, right? It's just different than
solution oriented too. It's not like you'll see some of those groups that are just like they're just belly aching and they're complaining. Like this is a solution, growth minded, positivity. It's not rah rah. It's like just like real value.
Yeah,
people focus on solutions, not the problem.
Amen.
And it's stuff that we want to hear and listen to, and then you're providing solutions, not any more to the issues, just solutions. And I just know for me, that's all I want to hear. And so, that's what makes it nice on there. So, thanks.
Appreciate that. It's always a pleasure, and looking forward to seeing you probably at one of the next events, I'm sure. And anything we can do to help you. And if you're watching, make sure you reach out to Kat if you have questions. We'd love to answer those and help you create a better career for yourself.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well,
Kat, thank you.
Thanks.
Cuz, thanks.
Yep. See you guys.
See ya.
Yep.